See, I had a regular SE, and then my boards moved out.
Well, they're still here.
Yeah. I'm a little sensitive.
Stop.
They have to dig down to get a cold one, brother. Oh, yeah. It's not cold on top. It feels pretty good. Okay.
Okay, everybody, we're going to have a little, we've got several pieces of correspondence and some videos that we're going to do, but most importantly, we're going to have some roasters to come up and talk about Dick. I want to start that with a little roast that we got from an alum from back in, well, I don't know what his year is. We'll let the tape tell.
Professor Kraemer, I'm here representing a former student of yours who has been just a light in my life, and I know he was a light in yours. As a matter of fact, he was just telling me the other day that it was you who taught him almost everything he knows about television production, including how to go from a long shot to a medium shot to a close-up shot, which comes in very handy every day on the Oprah Winfrey Show. But some other things, like how to behave in a Playboy club. You were the first one to teach him, and how to drink Bloody Marys for breakfast, and just overall how to conduct himself in a way that would bring him happiness, fulfillment, and success in his life. You know what I'm talking about? You know? Mike Shatter. Yeah, he graduated over 24 years ago, but let me tell you, he's doing great now and wishes you the very best. As a matter of fact, he wanted to be there tonight, but could not be there because he has gotten to be such a busy fellow that he just wanted to send his regards and let you know sincerely now how much he has appreciated your influence in his life. And I appreciate what you did because I appreciate his influence in our life here at Harpo Studios. So I wish you the very best on this great night. Wish I could have been there myself. And as a matter of fact, Mike is here right now. He doesn't know this, but I'm going to put him on camera so you can see what he looks like today, 24 years later. We call him the Beeve around here. Come on in, Beeve. Come on in. Say hello to Professor Kraemer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a mic?
No, I don't. Can I use yours?
He taught you that.
Yes. There. That looks really good.
It's not what a long shot was. Didn't I just teach him to use the mic?
Dick, Vicky and I are sorry we can't be there. We remember all the good times and some of the weird ones, like painting someone's stomach before their wedding ceremony just to make things interesting. I appreciate everything you've done for me.
The pleasure of all those late night working projects.
Those late night projects, I mentioned those to Oprah. I seem to get a lot more experience in doing those now than I have in the past.
The value of a good script.
The value of a good script. I'm being prompted by my boss here, which is kind of nice.
And tell me you're writing your own screenplay.
Oh yeah, I'm working on my screenplay. I'm about half done. I have no idea if it's good or not, but it will get done. And if it does, maybe I can get somebody to read it for me. So what are you going to say? Again, we're sorry we're not going to be there. We wish you all the best, and thank you so much for all the help and support that you gave me 24 years ago and since then. Happy retirement.
You're that old?
Yeah, I'm really that old.
Happy retirement.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you.
You did a good job.
Appreciate it.
Okay, now I'm going to ask Steve Knutson to come up and say just a couple of words to Dick. Steve, as you know, was the founder of the film production unit. He's the guy who made that horrific mistake back in 1954 and hired Dick Kraemer, who was a chemist at the time and an industrial education graduate student, or I don't know. Steve, you tell us.
You stop and think back. What's the first thing you can remember about Dick Kraemer? And I'm glad he gave me the year there. That fits in rather nicely. But actually, the thing I remember most was that we were in need of a sound man, somebody who knew something about hi-fi. That was about all you could count on in those days, because we didn't have TCAs before that. Everybody was learning as they went along. And the first big job we got in on was called So Easy. It was a series of 24 films on making a dress. You can imagine what Kraemer had, you know, fun he'd have with that. But really, he was a frustrated individual, because there was one thing that kept getting on the soundtrack that he really didn't want on there, and it kept on and it kept on. We were using, we didn't have a studio of our own at that time, and the TV boys kept theirs very well occupied. We needed one for 24 of these little films. So we went down to Ankeny, and where they used to make ammunition, and you know, followed through with some ammunition of a different kind. And we got the one of the rooms down there and fitted it out as a studio. We go down and back every day down. And when we got to shooting, just beautiful, quiet area, you know, except for one thing. It's still Iowa, and it's still farmland around there. And sure enough, in the middle of every take, you had a meadowlark. And meadowlarks are beautiful sounds, you know. You just kind of almost hated to take them off. But there they were. Then the next thing he had to work on, believe it or not, was the sound, trying to make sound when you were at good old Alice Norton House, and the train went by. So he cut his eye teeth in terms of filmmaking and sound on some real tough projects. And I'm proud to say I don't think I've got a record of any of those, of the meadowlarks, and I don't think I've got any trains on it for sure, but sometimes that rumble is still there. Anyway, it was what?
Jolly reels, remember?
Okay, some of it got into the jolly reel, but I'm not going to break into that. You can see that when it's there. Good luck to Dick.
Now we do have that jolly reel here, and we'll play it later on. But I want to keep going with this roasting business now. Slater, you came all the way from Sioux City. You want to stand up and say something? You're almost the same era as I am, right?
I'm not that old.
Oh, come on. Dave Slater, recently of television station what is it?
KCAU.
KCAU in Sioux
I got
City.
fired from there 5 years.
Yeah, okay.
I'm one of these beautiful TCA graduates who's been fired twice as many times as I've quit a job in broadcasting.
You saw in that film that the TCA students put together, Designed to Satisfy, the first student film that I made. This was the guy that starred in the film. See, he's that much older than I am. And actually, you were a GI, right? Came back to school?
Right.
Yeah?
I was one of the old fellows that came back. I was 25 when I enrolled.
Oh, okay. Well, you tell them about your experience with Dick.
Oh, I sort of equate Dick and Boris Boris's own goldfish tank and his vegetable soup and the martinis in the freezer. All sort of blend together over the years, but it's been really a delightful time. And I always remember Richard for, if the sun's shining, why aren't you out shooting? That was the line he always had for everything. No, it's been many delightful times I've been able to keep in touch with Dick over the years, thank goodness. He's aged better than I have, but that's the way it goes when you hang out with a young crowd. I also, Steve, I wanted to mention to you too, I had forgotten until you were up here speaking, that you gave me my very first paycheck for a writing job. And I've been doing a lot of writing over the years. I've got paid for it since, and I hope it's better than that was. We scripted a Visha film.
That's also one thing, too, that I bet a lot of people don't know how to do. The right way to start a Model T Ford.
That's right.
And a lot of trailers, before they would really get around there and adjust the sign, and then come open the door that wasn't there, and sit down and drive.
And you remember the shot with the Argyle socks? The time. No, I'm really pleased to be here today. I don't want to take any longer. It's already been too long up here. But Dick, best of luck for everything, and we really appreciate all you've taught us over the years.
I don't want to keep anybody away from this mic, but there are a couple of faculty members that have worked with Dick. Some of them further back, some of them more recently. Dan Perkins is here all the way from Wisconsin. We ought to get Dan up here just to say a quick word. Dan Perkins.
Kraemer is known far and wide to me long before I came to Iowa State University, which was back in 1969. I was in a film class at another Iowa school that we won't mention, somewhere east of here. And the instructor in the class, Ray Fielding, well known in film studies around the country, said, in the middle of class one day, talking about sound, said, I have this friend, he lives over in Ames, and he has this coffee table. And when you go into his house, he plugs his vacuum cleaner into the coffee table. You know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, film history class, I'm half asleep anyway. What's going on here? Coffee table? He said, yeah, and it makes this noise. And I found out that it was from this big old organ the guy had. It goes, boing. Well, it didn't make much sense to me. About 3 months later, I interviewed for a job here and was taken over to Kraemer's house. And here's this coffee table. It's there. I said, my God, this is the building. I'm going to be haunted for the rest of my life. Anyway, I knew about Dick long before I got here, but I think there's some consistency for Dick. I think it's very important for us to realize that although he keeps up to date technologically, his house has not changed much. When I went into his house the first time back in 1969, and he just moved into that place on the cul-de-sac, he had stacks of things. Well, I took advantage today when he had to go back over for some things. I said, Dick, I'll ride along with you. I went back over there, and I walked into the house, and first thing he said is, how do you like it? I'm getting a handle on it, aren't I? Gonna have this cleaned up here pretty quick, pretty soon. I said, Dick, last time I was here was about 3 years ago, and it hasn't changed at all. He said, no. See that book? It was over there last time we were here. So there is a consistency, and I would go, twice the distance I came for this. I love him a lot. He's always been a good friend, and I hope he remains that. Dick, I love you.
For almost 20 years now, including a stint at the film production unit before he came over at media production, Ed Rarick's been a staff member who's worked with Dick, made the famous student film about, what's that guy's name who was a wrestling coach down at Iowa City? Dan Gable, oh yeah. Here's Ed Rarick. Come on, Ed.
I have a few war stories that I could tell probably all night, but knowing Dick, he would say, fix it. And that's one of the other things. One of the things I'm going to miss, though, is Dick walking every morning past my door while I'm trying to figure out how to write a script or trying to figure out where to plug this thing in, and he just walks by and says, smile. And that just makes my day. I really appreciate that. But some of the things that Dick likes to do is to work with words and ideas, and I think that's what makes him so creative. And I think the Jolly Reel, which you may see later on, will attest to that. But there are some other things in the production of some films that I've done attest to that too. There's one point where we were making a film on Iowa coal, and we were trying to figure out how to show that coal mining is a good thing for Iowa. And he came up with the statement saying, Iowa coal, it's a one-time crop in a modern rotation scheme. So it came out very nice in the film, and I appreciate him for doing that. One of the other things we did, and you may see a piece of this in some of the later films that you'll see later, but he had an idea for Virginia Harding, who worked for Extension Communications on campus. And they had a big thing going for Consumer Business Week. And what we wanted to do was to promote it in a 60-second TV spot. And it was Dick's idea, basically, to show what happens to consumers, or what happens to business people, when consumers are not very good consumers. And so we see consumers putting their thumb into a tomato, for example, or having kids throwing potato chips on the floor, or dropping your cigarette butts onto the ashes on, okay, be specific, right? Cigarette ashes onto the lettuce. And every time that we see these things happening, Frank Brandt, who is the supposedly the manager of the store, sees this and turns red. And so we see shots of Frank turning red every other scene. Well, Dick's idea was to put a red gel in front of an EAL, I believe, which was attached to a Variac. And so we could gradually increase the redness as we see Frank's reaction getting worse and worse. Well, as it came down to editing and conforming, we had it all set and ready to go down to Don Galbraith. And Don was looking at this and he was saying, Dick, this first scene of Frank Brandt is a little bit red and I think we can change it. And we can fix it. And so that's all right. But the second scene it's getting too much red. And you don't want to, it's going to be difficult to fix it, Dick. But this third scene is just impossible. I cannot fix it in the printer. And we're just going to have to go without it. And that's when Dick said, wait a minute. This is what communication with the laboratory is all about. You have to be able to communicate with the lab, not only on the color corrections that you want, but also the color corrections that you don't want. But it's those little fine details that make it interesting and informative.
You forgot Chris Taylor squeezing the charm.
Oh yes, I almost forgot about that. We got Chris Taylor, great big 400-pound wrestler, and we had him squeezing the Charmin, and it was Dick's idea to have a thunderbolt come down and eliminate him and just make him disappear in a cloud of smoke. And we did all of this, and it was Dick's ability to use pyrotechnics. I think that's one of the things that he loves to do. He loves to light matches, I think. But and that seems to be a very critical thing for Dick, and I'm sure that he could have made that little puff of smoke into a mushroom cloud if he wanted to, but I think
the store would not have liked it.
But it wasn't in the budget, right? But I want to thank Dick for all of his openness, his open house, his open heart, and his ability to be specific, and his ability to smile at everything. Bah humbug.
I see several members of the journalism faculty here. Tom Emerson is back there. Tom, maybe you'd want to say something. Tom Beal is back here. Tom, you can make a smart crack about your buddy Dick Kraemer, can't you? I see Jack Shelley in the back too. Jack, nice to see you're here. A lot of friends from around Ames and Iowa State. Here's Tom Beal.
I can't possibly top what's been said, and I've been trying to think of weird experiences I've had with Dick over the past 16 years that I've known him. And I realize that they don't seem weird to me anymore. I'm spending so much time with him. I'm used to that coffee table, and I'm used to those piles of things that don't move. In fact, I notice when things change over there. I guess of all the strange things I can think of, I do want to remind you, and many of you will remember Mississippi, that famous car he had for 20 years or however long. 24 years.
The white.
Special.
It was I don't know what it was originally, but it was a terrific, durable car that he never wanted to give up, even though the seat had collapsed. And it had, I know about the floor, I'll get to that. He never sat in the passenger seat, so he doesn't realize it too had collapsed. It was really a dangerous car to ride in, but the interesting thing is that he had driven it so long that the floorboard, or the metal floor, had disintegrated. And this repair shop that he took this car to patch it together threatened to pour a slab of cement there at the bottom to hold the thing together. He nursed that car along for years, and it was an experience to ride in it. It's been a tremendous experience to know Dick. I've treasured this friendship more than perhaps he knows. And I don't think of him as retiring, because I plan on being at his house every other day anyway. So and I certainly plan to have him continue to work with us as we continue the program. Anyway, it's been a wonderful 16 years, Dick.
Where are you, Dick? There. I first met Dick 30 years ago, or maybe 35. I was an undergraduate student at Iowa State, working at the information service, writing Now is the Time to Ring Your Hogs, according to County Extension Director blank, fill in your name. And that's not what inspired me to meet Dick, but I was palling around with some of these broadcast TCA types. Jerry Brady was one name, and I don't remember who it was, but they said, you gotta come on over to Alice Norton House. And I thought, hey, I'm for that, whoever Alice Norton is. And they said, there's this guy in the basement. And I said, well, okay, I'm almost 21. And by gosh, it was Dick Kraemer down there, and he had cooked up the Jolly Reel, the first Jolly Reel, and then the other reel, which Dick will always remember, but the other reel actually, in fact, I think even today wouldn't be shown before midnight on most paid television channels. And in fact, I have to say, in a bizarre way, I guess I owe a certain part of my sex education to Dick and his films, and it would be hard to think that there is another one of his kind, not just at Iowa State, but probably on this planet. So Dick, by golly, it's been fun to know you over those years, and we hope you stay around and continue making life interesting for us all.
I really want to make this microphone available to any of you, students, faculty members, friends, commiserators, as I suggested in the letter that I sent out, alumni of Archives West, whoever it might be. Steve Pendry, didn't you want to come up here and say a word? Steve Pendry, Director of Biomedical Communications.
Dick, I was just thinking how long it's been. My gosh, it's like Sgt. Pepper. It's been 20 years ago. And thinking back to when I first got to know you more than just on a name basis, I think I was just out of the Army. I'd gone back to grad school, and about 71. Came in and decided I'd better take the film production course. I'd heard it was a good one. And of course, I'd had journalism, still photography, and 319, so I was a pretty sharp guy. I must know about all there was to know, but I better take that to just be sure I had everything under control. Dick, of course, set me straight on that pretty quickly. He showed me about 100,000 things I didn't know how to do right. And for those of you who haven't been through the sequence, in those days it was called 400C, and it was 4 quarters long, and the end product of the whole process was to turn out a production of some kind that was to be a real-world experience. Well, it certainly was. Alice Norton House was certainly a part of that process. We got to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous staff members. And got to learn how to avoid the habit of standing in doorways, learn how to play core hockey on the 3rd floor. Some of us even learned how to run the patch panel, which is a major accomplishment. In my own case, I got involved in a project called Artists in the Schools. We went up to Tama, Iowa about, I don't know, 24 times. Dave Hogenacker and Mike Waters were in on that project. It was a great one. We learned how to do all kinds of things. Not the least of which was to produce a 21-minute film for $1,144, as I recall, in color. And that was a good exercise. After that time, I had the opportunity to help Dick with some parts of teaching that course, and I think I learned as much in helping with it as I did in taking it. They were both terrific experiences. And since then, working out at Vet Med, we've had a whole lot of people, including Terry Henderson and a whole lot of the other folks who are here, come out and participate in our program out there and help us in production. And they have been extremely valuable because of the training they've received at TCA and especially with Dick. And just want to mention that I think all of you know this, but in every organization that really works well, there's at least one person who's the keeper of the flame. And Dick Kraemer is that person in this line of work at Iowa State. He's shown us the standards we should operate by. He's shown us how to feel guilty when the discussion gets around to taking shortcuts and doing it the wrong way. So, here, Professor Doctor, I salute you.
Is this a good time for Mike Engelke to come up and do his thing? Mike, where are you? He's got a little trophy he's gonna bring up. We'll do that. Then some of you people out there I know have some great war stories that you want to come up and roast on this guy. Henderson, you'll be up here in a little bit, right? Who else? Well, think about it. Sawyer, I know you've got one you want to tell. So let's, where are you, Mike? Mike Engelke.
Everybody knows Dick's a cartoon nut, right? It's been around the block. I've just got 2 words.
Dick amok. I think that'll fit above the coffee table, won't it?
That's a door to his living room.
Right. All right, Henderson, you're next. Come on. Terry Henderson, everybody.
I'm supposed to do that till I'm done, right? Thing I remember most about Dick? His trademark, right? Okay. I sort of stand here as the black sheep, I think, of Dick's existence at the film production unit. I came to Iowa State, and where's Don Sprague? Don Sprague one summer took myself and my parents, oh there he is, right by there, took us around, showed us TCA, showed us everything, did everything he could to sell me on television. I didn't want television, I wanted to be a filmmaker. Okay, so I came to Iowa State, and I took the sequence 400C, and I loved every minute, and I think Dick actually thought I had some promise at one time as a filmmaker. I mean, I like the technical parts of it. I have a good time doing that kind of stuff. And, but you know what happened? I was seduced. It was that electronic gadgetry and all that neat stuff that you can do instantly instead of having to take it down to the lab and have somebody work on it for you. Well, one day I got this phone call. I was working part-time at the film production unit doing editing off and on for them. But I was also working at Vet Med learning about television, learning film on one side and learning television on the other. I got this phone call from Bonnie Smith. A lot of you remember Bonnie as the secretary of film production. She said, we've got these boxes of equipment over here. It's video stuff. And we have to have a shoot on Monday morning. Do you know how to run it? This is Friday at 4 o'clock. So I said, well, I don't know. And I came over and picked it up and opened it up and took it home over the weekend and figured it out. And we actually started making video out of the film production unit. And that was a little rough. Yeah, I know. What can I say? It was one of those things, you know. Well, I was having trouble, you know, if any of you were ever in Alice Norton House, especially in the time I was there, right up to the end, it was getting a little bit dilapidated. They didn't really want to take care of it at that time. They were sort of waiting for it to fall apart. And video equipment at that time was really susceptible to dirt and problems. So I actually managed to get a little piece of a closet. And we painted half of the closet white, put a little sign that said video, and I actually got to make video out of the film production unit. And, but you know, I'd still like to make film. It's just, nobody ever gives me a chance anymore. I know how to shoot it once in a while. It just doesn't work that way. So, you know, there's not a whole lot you can say. It was a transition time. And there's a lot of things that I learned from Dick. And I appreciate all of that. And I know everybody here that had anything to do with him appreciated whatever he could do for them, the things that he taught them. One of the few people at this university that I ever met in teaching that had a feel for the technical side. Not a feel. He lived the technical side. And it was very important. And that's one of the things it's helped me all the time. So I appreciate everything. And thanks a lot.
All right, who's next? Sawyer, you want to say something? You got any war stories about Kraemer? No? Nothing current, okay. Schmidt, you wanted to say something, didn't you? Alan Schmidt is a member of our staff at Media Production Unit today. He has a unique background because he not only has a degree in journalism and television, but he has a degree in animal science too. So he ends up being our ag producer. But importantly to what he's going to talk about today is that, come on in, Alan. You know, earlier on I let you see some pieces from student film number 1. Here's a guy who made student film number, what number?
I don't know.
What was it, Dick? 297. The last student film, right?
Yeah.
The film
It
to
was the
end
last
all
student
films.
film.
Mother of all films.
Tell them about it.
Well, what I have here, first student film, Lindy, and what could be the last student film. And I'm going to try to bring some closure to this, maybe. This film was done by Lindy in '56, and I started on this film in '86 with Bill Munt, and Dan Edwards, and Kent Johnson, bless his soul. And we hope to finish this film this year. And the first student film, oh, by the way, you'll notice that the size of student films has changed, while the height of film students has remained relatively. But this is about 40 feet, and this is about 800 feet. So thanks to Dick's guidance, student films at Iowa State have increased about 23 feet per year. I think I speak for a few people here when I say that it's because of Dick that I got into this damn business. And after I took the film sequence, I never looked at the world the same way again. And that's meant a lot to me. Thanks, Dick.
All right, who else? Who wants to come up? This is your last chance to take a shot at your old favorite professor. Come on. Who's going to come up here? Because if we don't have somebody else who wants to talk, we're going to just have to start to drink again.
Well, that's preparatory for what I'm about to announce. It's about time to raise a glass. We have the opportunity to have employed numerous graduates from various alma maters across the country, about 7 from one-of-a-kinds, about 2 or 3 from the University of Iowa. But I'm proud to say that we have 7 graduates from TCA, from Iowa State, and they're the best breed. And it's to this guy and to the whole program, and thank you very much. To Dick. It's time to toast him, and time to have a great one. Thank you, sir.
Who else wants to take a shot before we cut the cake? And then we're going to look at, I don't know, we've got some other videos to look at, some really powerful things yet today. I know we want to look at the Jolly Reel, you know, before we're done. Maybe this would be a good chance for me to announce that if you go down the path, turn left, you'll find the facilities. In the meantime, have a drink. There's coffee here, and we're going to cut the cake. Dick, do you want to come up and take the first chop out of the cake?
I don't have my hatchet.
Well, we got a big hatchet here for you. Yeah, and then he's going to have his rebuttal, too. Maybe he'll want to do that after he cuts the cake. Huh? Before the crowd leaves?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, come on up on the mic then.
Before the crowd leaves, my rebuttal? Okay, my rebuttal.
I'm not gonna go fix it. You're the maintenance guy. You go fix it. Hey, I'm not on the clock. Oh, God, if you want anything done around this place, it seems like you gotta do it yourself.
Oh hell, Pyle forgot the scope lens again, damn it. Start it over.
Eine deutsche Junge. Nach einem Jahr komme ich. Dieser ist nicht Nürnberg. Dieser ist Ames. Oh. Meine schöne telekommunische Kunststudentin. Nach 38 Jahren komme ich dieser Tag für meine letzten Sprache zu sehen. 38 Jahre wach komme ich, sehe ich und ich entrichte auf. Du auch im 38 Jahr. Dann setzen Sie Ihr Großkind an dem Knieboden und der Großkind fragt, was gibt mit Ihr ISU-Diploma, Herr Großbacher? Du kannst sagen zurück, weil ich nicht krabschommelt im Iowa City. Kein armer Bastard never macht aus mit der ISU-Diploma bei Displaying, was ihr kennt. Besser aber Displaying, was der andere arme Bastard kennt nicht. Du hast gehört, Arbeit macht frei. In dem Dunkeltagen im Past. Besser ist für TCA-Folk im University Arbeit macht Diploma. Und für Alumni Arbeit macht Checkers. Mit der Wegen wohnt unter Unterrichtlichkeit, unter Studieren und den erjassenden Rundfunk und der Fernsehen, unter Film, unter Untersuchung und Forschung. Remember, we're dealing with the Marken, the Musik, der Klang und der Farben und Entwicklungen. Und das war eine lange Zeit. Da ist kein Weg around these. Keine Menge von Screamen und Bitchen und at once. Nein, 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 das ist nicht richtig. Nein, das ist nicht jetzt richtig. Und Sturm und Drang bin ein großer Chunk von Unterricht. Aber wenn das dann kraken, du bist ein telekommunischer Kunstgraduate und auch ein TCA-Alumna. Nachdurch der Jobhundenprozess, wenig Zeit, Simplismus, Werkmittel. Du hast Ziel und Persistlichkeit. Der schönste Professoren, sehr gut Bau und Facilitaten macht große Opportunitäten für Film, Rundfunk und Fernsehen. Mit Hochregarden das Oberkernadministration. Dieser Regarden und Optimismus, was der Kernadministration hat für die Telecommunication Art Area, ist all ist set, gesagt, gesprochen und getan und in Future Peaking still geht. Opportunismus mit Telecommunication, Kunst und elektronische Medien studieren Studenten. Du bist schön hoch und gut Freund. Film, Rundfunk und Fernsehen. In dieser modernen Zeit, wir will haben ein Fusion und ein Gemisch, zu gibt aus ein heiliger, aufklangender, farblich, wunderbar Image-Technik, das vor 1000 Jahren sparkeln und progressen sind. Danken Sie, Freunde. Ich bin sehr pupt. Sehr warm. Ach, Himmel! Dummkopf! Mangelhaft! Ach, ich schmerz mich! Ach, ich muss mich an. Ich nicht ab. Ich bin zurückgezogen. What the hell is this?
Who the hell was that? Oh, some old fart who hangs around here all the time. Was he supposed to do that? No. We had this whole thing set up because we're expecting a candidate for the new PIC position. We got someone we think will really work well with the administration.
taught him almost everything he knows about television production, including how to go from a long shot to a medium shot to a close-up shot, which comes in very handy every day on the Oprah Winfrey Show. But some other things, like how to behave in a Playboy club. You were the first one to teach him, and how to drink Bloody Marys for breakfast, and just overall how to conduct himself in a way that would bring him happiness, fulfillment, and success in his life. You know what I'm talking about? You know? Mike Shatter. Yeah, he graduated over 24 years ago, but let me tell you, he's doing great now and wishes you the very best. As a matter of fact, he wanted to be there tonight, but could not be there because he has gotten to be such a busy fellow that he just wanted to send his regards and let you know sincerely now how much he has appreciated your influence in his life. And I appreciate what you did because I appreciate his influence in our life here at Harpo Studios. So I wish you the very best on this great night. Wish I could have been there myself. And as a matter of fact, Mike is here right now. He doesn't know this, but I'm going to put him on camera so you can see what he looks like today, 24 years later. We call him the Beeve around here. Come on in, Beeve. Come on in. Say hello to Professor Kraemer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a mic?
No, I don't. Can I use yours?
He taught you that.
Yes. I would say just a couple of words to Dick. Steve, as you know, was the founder of the film production unit. He's the guy who made that horrific mistake back in 1954 and hired Dick Kraemer, who was a chemist at the time and an industrial education graduate student, or I don't know. Steve, you tell us.
You know, you stop and think back. What's the first thing you can remember about Dick Kraemer? And I'm glad he gave me the year there. That fits in nicely. But actually, the thing I remember most was that we were in need of a sound man, somebody who knew something about hi-fi. That was about all you could count on in those days because we didn't have TCAs before that. Everybody was learning as they went along. And the first big job we got in on was called So Easy. It was a series of 24 films on making a dress. Which was, you can imagine what Kraemer had, you know, the fun he'd have with that. But really he was a frustrated individual because there was one thing that kept getting on the soundtrack that he really didn't want on there. And it kept on and it kept on. We were using, we didn't have a studio of our own at that time, and the TV boys kept theirs.
There! That looks really good.
It's not what a long shot was. It's nice to teach him to use the mic.
Dick, Vicki and I are sorry we can't be there. We remember all the good times and some of the weird ones, like painting someone's stomach before their wedding ceremony just to make things interesting. I appreciate everything you've done for me.
The pleasure of all those late night working projects.
Those late night projects, I mentioned those to Oprah. I seem to get a lot more experience in doing those now than I have in the past.
The value of a good script.
Value of a good script. I'm being prompted by my boss here, which is kind of nice.
And tell him you're writing your own screenplay.
Oh yeah, I'm working on my screenplay. I'm about half done. I have no idea if it's good or not, but it will get done. And if it does, maybe I can get somebody to read it for me. So what are you gonna say? Again, we're sorry we're not going to be there. We wish you all the best, and thank you so much for all the help and support that you gave me 24 years ago and since then. Happy retirement.
You're that old?
Yeah, I'm really that old.
Happy retirement.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you.
You did a good job.
Appreciate it.
Okay, now I'm going to ask Steve Knutson to come up.
See, I had a regular SE, and then took my boards with
Well, they're still here.
Yeah. I'm a little noise sensitive.
Stop.
They have to dig down to get a cold one, brother.
Oh yeah, that might just, it's not cold on top. It might not.
It feels pretty good. Okay. Okay, everybody, we're going to have a little, we've got several pieces of correspondence and some videos that we're going to do, but most importantly, we're going to have some roasters to come up and talk about Dick. I want to start that with a little roast that we got from an alum from back in, well, I don't know what his year is. We'll let the tape tell.
Professor Kraemer, I'm here representing a former student of yours who has been just a light in my life, and I know he was a light in yours. As a matter of fact, he was just telling me the other day that it was you.
It's pretty well occupied. We needed one for 24 of these little films. So we went down to Ankeny, and where they used to make ammunition, and you know, followed through with some ammunition of a different kind. And we got the one of the rooms down there and fitted it out as a studio. We go down and back every get done. And when we got to shooting, just beautiful, quiet area, you know, except for one thing. It's still Iowa, and it's still farmland around there. And sure enough, in the middle of every take, you had a meadowlark. And meadowlarks are beautiful sounds, you know. You just kind of almost hated to take them out. But there they were. Then the next thing he had to work on, believe it or not, was the sound, trying to make sound when you were at good old Alice Norton House, and the train went by. So he cut his eye teeth in terms of filmmaking and sound on some real tough projects. And I'm proud to say I don't think I've got a record of any of those, of the meadowlarks, and I don't think I've got any trains on it for sure, but sometimes that rumble is still there. Anyway, it was what?
Jolly reels, remember?
Okay, some of it got into the jolly reel, but I'm not going to break into that. You can see that when it's there. Good luck to Dick.